Hello friends, thank you for joining me for Rupert Cooks again. Today we are making what I think is the very first thing I ever figured out how to cook on my own, like making up the recipe myself. And it is cold sesame noodles with chicken. So stay tuned.
Pretty sure the first time I ever had these, I was sitting around at a friend's house, and he had two sisters. And one of them said, "I'm going to go out and get some food." And she came back with these, and we were just sitting around listening to Dopey Ramones records.
Okay, so the whole thing with this dish is we're making noodles with sort of a sesame peanut butter sauce with chicken. And the key to this is not making it taste all sesame peanut and have that be overpowering. You're trying to get like sort of a mixture of tastes to get this kind of, savory and sour and hot and sweet taste all going on at the same time, but with the sort of sesame thing predominating. I've got a cucumber all peeled here, and I'm just going to slice it lengthwise. And you want to get out this stuff in the middle. You don't, the seeds and everything aren't really doing anything for you. So I just take a spoon and I just come right along here and scoop it all out. This doesn't have to be anything totally perfect here, but just get it out because it's not going to look good in the final serving, and it really doesn't add any taste to anything. So there we go. We've got that all out. And then let's get the ends off here. And you want to slice this up. This is going to act sort of like a pickle in our dish. So we're going to come along here and slice this lengthwise. So we're going to get like 3 parts here, then come along and just make some nice little pieces that we're going to use to kind of as a garnish on the whole thing. But this is a key part in adding that sort of multi-level taste. Then to our diced up cucumber, we are going to add 1/4 cup rice vinegar, 2 teaspoons salt, 2 teaspoons Mirin. This is like a sweet cooking wine. I sometimes see it in the grocery store, but you definitely can get it at a Asian grocery store. It's not really something else will do. I mean, if you have to, you could use sherry, but Mirin's a little bit sweeter than that. And then 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. You can use bottled lemon juice, is perfectly fine for this kind of thing. And then we are going to get that all stirred up here. So we are doing this first so that the cucumbers can pickle, but we don't want to get into something where we're doing this overnight. So this is just going to sit for the half an hour or whatever it takes for us to prepare everything else. So let's get on to that. Next, we're going to make our sauce that's going to go into all of this. So we're going to start off with something a little bit unusual. We're going to heat up a tablespoon of sesame oil, which one normally doesn't cook in. So you got to do this quickly. You want to have your pan hot, put this in, get it hot. Then we're going to throw in 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, a lot of ginger, like 3 tablespoons of minced ginger. Here you want to be using fresh ginger, no powdered ginger or the weird ginger in a tube stuff. I don't know what that stuff is. And 2 dry peppers. We're going to throw that in and then follow up with the rest of our ingredients. And our oil's heating. And here comes the garlic. Get that all in. And our ginger. And our 2 peppers. I'm going to immediately turn that way down. Very easy to screw up your sesame oil doing this. Okay, so our oil is heated up. We've got our preliminary ingredients in. And so then we are going to add a 1/2 cup of tahini sauce. Believe it or not, a tablespoon of ketchup. I don't care if you think it's inauthentic. 2 tablespoons of ketchup manis. I know I've mentioned this before. It's like a sweet kind of molassesy like a sweet soy sauce. I think this is really essential. And then a teaspoon of 5-spice powder. And then at that point, we are going to start tasting it and see where we're at, because I know we're going to have to add some peanut butter, but not a lot. Very easy to go overboard on that. Next, our tahini, ketchup, our ketchup manis, and our 5-spice powder. Okay, and once those are all really mixing in together, you want to put in a 1/2 cup of soy sauce. The reason why you're adding that later is because I find it's easier to get the tahini mixed in well. It's warmed up a little bit before adding the soy sauce. At this point, it's really important to taste the sauce, and I don't know what it is, but there is no way I can ever get the exact measurements for what's going to work for me, you know, from one time to the next, like exactly down. So I always have to taste it at this point. And at this point, you want to add a little bit of peanut butter. And I am talking about like a tablespoon at most, you know, between a teaspoon and a tablespoon at most. Because the last thing you want here is for this to taste all like peanut butter sauce, because peanut butter can overpower everything. Next thing you know, you've got gloppy peanut butter noodles, and it's just kind of gross. You don't want that. So I'm going to taste. We're going to put in a little bit of peanut butter and proceed. Okay, so I'm going to start here with just about, I don't know, 1/2 tablespoon of peanut butter. And I think that that's just going to do it fine. I should probably also mention that I am using actual tahini sauce, like the stuff you get at the hippie store. I don't know, maybe it's more appropriate to call them health food stores, even though nobody in them ever looks very healthy. But yeah, I'm just using straight up tahini sauce because I use it in a lot of other things. There is a toasted sesame paste that you can get in Asian markets that has more of a robust flavor that you can possibly get by with adding no peanut butter or less peanut butter or something like that. I just don't get it because it's, you know, sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. It's sort of a pain. I can get tahini sauce like, you know, right at my regular old grocery store. So if you want to really search it out at your Asian grocery store, they do make a special sesame paste just for this kind of thing. Next, I'm going to add a pound of Chinese style noodles to some boiling water. Get those cooking. There's a million varieties. I'm using this sort of broad noodle here. You can use the round ones that are kind of more like spaghetti. I wouldn't do it, but you could maybe use spaghetti with this. But I am using Shandong style dried noodle because it has that imperial taste. And we're going to get that in the boiling water and cook that up. And in goes our noodles. Really get these down in there. Give them a stir, and we are going to bring this back to a boil again and add 1 cup of cold water as soon as it comes to a boil. And our noodles have come to a nice rolling boil. They're moving around nicely, so 1 cup of surprising water. Purpose of this is to give the noodles a little bit more tooth or al dente-ness. It sort of firms them up a little bit. A lot of people don't do this. It's not essential, but I feel it helps quite a bit. So we're going to let them come to a boil and cook until done. Okay, so our noodles are all cooked. I have rinsed them off with cold water to stop the cooking process and cool them down. You cannot just leave them like this. They'll all stick together. So I'm going to put them in the bowl and just go over them. A little bit of sesame oil, sprinkle it around on them, and this will help keep them sticking together until you're ready to serve. Then I've also got about 3/4 of a pound of chicken meat that I boiled and shredded. I like to use thighs. So just skin the thighs, throw them in the water, boil them for a little bit. I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And then pick them clean and throw that in. And get it all mixed up. Then it's time for our sauce. If you want to take your peppers out. If your sauce has thickened up, just warm it up a little bit, but you don't want to get it too warm because you want to be cooling this whole thing down eventually. So just get your sauce in there. Whoa. Get that all mixed up. Now at this point you could move on to serving, but it really is better if it's a little bit chilled, and we're not talking a lot here. It allows the flavors to sort of combine a little bit better and that kind of thing. So at this point, you might want to cover it with some saran wrap or something and put it in the refrigerator for half an hour or an hour or so. It doesn't take too long. But we will come back and serve this up. And while we're waiting for that to cool down, I'm going to cut up some little garnish. So I have a couple of scallions here. Just slice these up fairly thin. These are adding to that multi-layered taste thing. Plus it makes it look a lot nicer than hunkin' plate of noodles. And then depending on how hot you like things, I'm going to use 3 of these peppers. Maybe I'll just use 2. I might be getting a little bit too adventurous here. Gives that nice stunning bite when you go into them. So yeah, I think that's enough. I'm just going to do 2. All right, so let's get this served up. Okay, so this is some of the noodles served up on a little platter here. You want to go over it with your sort of pickled cucumbers, just a little bit here. And a little of your scallions on top. And some of your peppers. And then what I like to do is go very lightly with a little drizzle of the ketchup manis on top. And there you have it, the cold sesame noodles. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you joining me. And if you could please like and subscribe, I would like that even more. Thanks again. I'll see you on the next one.